It's time to break down some football.
We got to get our mind right. Touchdown, win.
From the perspective of guys who played in the NFL.
Caught, touchdown!
And a guy who had one really great sack in high school.
Oh, you're so weak. You're a waste of my time.
Greg Camarillo and Marcus McNeil are the pros. And Scraby is the Joe.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Two Pros and a Joe starts right now.
Two Pros and a Joe back for episode 3. I am so excited for what we're going to bring you today. But first, let's take care of a little bit of housekeeping. We are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just search Two Pros and a Joe or go to any of our social media platforms to find it. I am Scraby. I am the Joe of the podcast. We have Greg Camarillo, who is one of the pros. We have Marcus McNeil, who is another pro. And if you want to catch us on social media, you could find us. You can find Greg at Catch Camarillo on Twitter. You could find Marcus at Marcus McNeil 73 on Twitter, and you could find me at Matt Scraby. Please go and subscribe to us. Go and give us a little bit some reviews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And the whole goal of this podcast is just bridge the gap between the fan and the professional. We want to talk football, get both perspectives. And the pros, they're given the perspective of being on the field, and I ask the questions. Greg Camarillo, 8 years in the NFL with the Chargers, Dolphins, Saints, and Vikings. Marcus McNeil, 6 years with the Chargers, the left tackle. And me, Scraby, 1 sack in high school. And that sack keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Great sack. Game-saving sack.
I'm telling you, man. Big-time sack, man.
Big-time sack. The legend continues to grow. So I'm very excited about this show because people will never forget it. But we also have a special guest today, and Greg Camarillo was the one who set this up. So, Greg, why don't you go ahead and bring on your friend here? Yeah,
for this episode, we are 3 pros and a Joe, and so I'm excited to have a good friend, but that's not why he's on here. He's on here because he was a good pro. Tank Williams. He was a safety for 7 years in the NFL. Was also, I believe, an All-American at Stanford, and that's where our friendship started, which is odd because he used to light me up, and then somehow we became friends after that. But Tank, if Tank was in the NFL right now, he would probably be the brokest safety out there because he used to demolish wide receivers, and they would take his check in every week in this year's NFL climate right now. But Tank spent 4 years with the Titans, 2 years with the Vikings, and 1 year in New England with Belichick and Brady. So he's going to give us a new perspective. Also, Big Mac and I are offensive guys. Tank is on defense, giving us some good insight, some good perspective.
Yo, dog, I actually feel honored to be the first guest on the show. And what y'all don't know is like every fantasy football team I have, my team name is Pros versus Joes.
Oh,
Let them know.
Like a perfect bond coming in for the podcast.
There you go.
That was meant to be. And I don't know how we let this happen, Marcus, but we are outnumbered now by Stanford guys.
I don't know. I just felt the case study coming on.
I did too. If you don't know, Greg has in the last 2 podcasts brought up the case studies twice. So I'm hoping that we get to a third case study reference here on the show today. Are you a big case study fan, Tank?
More than likely it's going to happen, dog. Like I almost want my nerd hat. So you're lucky I just got my Tank hat on today.
Nice. Well, let's get right into it. That's also one of the things we do on this podcast. We don't dilly-dally around too much.
It's time for 2 Pros and a Joe to make some big decisions.
And the first big decision we're going to talk about today is we're going to go to the Bay Area. We're going to talk about Jimmy G. I am a 49ers fan. It is not any secret that I am a massive 49ers fan. And I'm stuck a little bit on this Jimmy G thing as the quarterback of the 49ers. So I'm glad to get the 3 opinions of the pros tonight. What do you guys do if you're the 49ers? Is it time to look elsewhere, or is Jimmy G the guy? Because Jimmy has had 2 out of the last 3 years that he has been injured and not really been not been able to play. In the other year, he went to the Super Bowl. So it's like, what do we got here? Do we got an injured guy, or do we got a guy who's able to lead us to the Super Bowl? Let's start with you, Greg. What are you doing if you are the 49ers with Jimmy Garoppolo?
All right, Scraby, you know what I'm starting out with? Straight out of the gate with this one, a case study.
Oh, all right, so I just brought it up.
Our case study, we're going to go to Miami. So the last franchise quarterback that the Miami Dolphins had was Dan Marino. Awesome, amazing Dan Marino. They've been through 22 starting quarterbacks to now get to Tua Tagovailoa. You don't want to be stuck in that cycle of searching for your franchise quarterback. Is Jimmy G one of the best quarterbacks? Absolutely not. Will Jimmy G do a good enough job when he's on the field? Absolutely. The man took you to the Super Bowl, was one missed throw away from winning the Super Bowl. For me, you keep Jimmy G, you try to keep him healthy, and that's your guy.
I love to hear that because I am a big Jimmy G fan. Marcus, what do you think? What is your big decision? What are you going to do if you're the 49ers with Jimmy G?
If I'm the 49ers, I'm sorry, Greg. It's about that time. You know what I'm saying? Like I love Jimmy G. He's a stand-up looking guy. You know what I'm saying? Probably
He's very handsome. He's very looking guy.
Like probably one of our top tier quarterbacks out there. But like I say, he's been injury prone like 2 out of the 3 years. The 1 year that he wasn't, they go to the Super Bowl, fall short. Their team is built off of defense. If you have a chance to get a quarterback that you can get to come in there and be that long-term quarterback for you, I think that you bring that option in and possibly put together some sort of competition where, either Jimmy G is going to rise to the top and rise to the occasion, or you bring that new young blood in, Trevor Lawrence or, Blake Fields. That's just talking. We know they're not going to be that bad, Scrappy. Calm down. They're not going to be that bad.
Oh, I want to tank now. Tank for Trevor. So you're saying go with someone else, create a little bit of competition. Let's go to you, Tank. What do you think? What do you do if you're the 49ers and Jimmy G? Do you let him go or do you keep him for the future?
Well, you're asking us like if we feel that Jimmy G is the man. You know what they always say. If you have to ask the question, then you already know the answer. It's one of those things where, yeah, he was good enough to take them to the Super Bowl. Yeah, if he would have hit Manny Sanders downfield, they probably would have won it. But the thing is that he didn't. And you want a quarterback that's going to get you in those situations. And what they're going to do? They're going to win in those situations instead of losing. So I understand he's been dealing with injuries. But at the same time, I mean, like my man Marcus was saying, they got a hell of a defense over there in San Francisco. And they had some weapons on offense the way they were running the raw ball. You got George Kittle. You had Manny Sanders that came over from Denver last year and was balling. And so for you to not take advantage of that opportunity when it's so tough to not only make it to the playoffs in the league, but to actually make it to the Super Bowl and then win, and you miss on that opportunity because you can't hit like Manny Sanders running down the field butt naked wide open, like, man, dog. You can't do that in that situation, then you ain't there to be the man. You ain't the man, dog. It's that simple.
Hey, Scrappy, the problem with three pros in the Joe is that somebody's got to be wrong, and right now I'm 0 for 1. I'm outnumbered.
Hey.
Well, we still have time.
But Scrappy got your back up. I mean, I know he's a 49ers faithful, so he got you.
I am, and here's the reason why I'm keeping Jimmy G is because he's a discount at $28 million or $27 million next year, because this year it's a bad contract for the 49ers. He's the 4th highest paid quarterback in the league, but next year he moves down to the 11th highest paid quarterback in the league. And then the year after that, Kirk Cousins is leading the pack with a $45 million salary. So at $27 million, I think Jimmy G is not a bad option for the 49ers. I definitely think they need to bring someone in to push him a little bit, because it can't just be his job. But it sounds crazy to say, but $27 million for a quarterback is a steal in the NFL for someone who can actually move the ball down the field. We see it all the time. Whenever a quarterback comes in and they can't move the ball down the field, it just kills the entire mojo of the team. So Jimmy G, it was a 2 against and 1 for. Thank you, Greg, for
there
being
we go. I like that
guy.
Hardcore evidence too.
You like the hardcore evidence? Of course I'm going to bring up
Like
Jimmy
that.
G hardcore evidence. Everybody always wants to talk trash about Jimmy G.
No, you can't win a Super Bowl with a contract though, bro. You got to win the Super Bowl with the pick.
Tell him again.
And he showed me everything I needed to see going against that Seattle secondary. If you can't throw the ball against them, then you can't throw it against nobody. And that was before he got hurt.
Yeah.
I would like to say, what about his injured ankle? But I don't feel like I'm going to be getting any sympathy from the 3 pros on the show.
No, you're not.
I mean, the guy can't throw off his back foot.
Hey, come on now. Come on. We just got, we ain't going to get that far down the line. We got to talk about my brother later on. But, this is an injury-ridden league. You don't really get a pass for being injured. The revolving door is always going in the NFL. So, if anything, I hate to see the injuries, but at the same time, you got to put somebody in there who is going to be consistently on the field, and especially at the quarterback position.
They say your most important ability is your availability.
First say amen.
Sage advice. Amen. Let's move to our next big decision. And we've talked about it a little bit here on this podcast, but I know a lot of people are talking about it around the NFL circles. And we're talking, is it Belichick or Brady that was the biggest contributor to the Patriots dynasty? And let's start with you, Marcus. What do you think? Was it Bill Belichick or Tom Brady that should get most of the credit for what happened in the last 20 years with the Patriots?
Ooh, I'm going to take the easy road on this, and I'm going to go ahead with Tom Brady. You know, we see what's going on right now with Tom Brady, his left, you know, the New England Patriots. They look bad. True enough, they don't have a lot of weapons on offense at all, but I don't think it's necessarily always the weapons, and we saw that with Tom Brady in his past. He didn't always have the biggest weapons around him, but he always found a way to make the people around him game rise up, especially when it came to those wide receivers and tight ends. So he's had the ability to raise the people around him, as we see him going down to a Tampa Bay team who, you know, already has some weapons but lack that leadership that we wanted to see. And they bring in a quarterback that has that leadership ability, the one that could be that general on the field, and is kind of culminating in their record now. You know what I'm saying? They're really defending, or really playing tough in the NFC right now, probably one of the best teams. So on the other side of the ball, we see Cam and we see Belichick over there scratching their head and kind of going round and round in circles right now.
Tank, we're going to get your opinion here last, because you actually spent time in New England, so you're going to have a lot of insight there. Greg, what do you think? Who deserves most of the credit for what happened in the Patriots dynasty of the past 20 years, Brady or Belichick?
Yeah, Tank has the inside info on being in New England. I've got the outside info on playing against New England a bunch of times.
Yes.
And you got to look at what Belichick has done when Tom Brady is not there. And it's 2 years we're looking at. We're looking at this year. New England sucks. And we're looking at the year that Tom Brady got hurt and Matt Castle became the quarterback. They were good, but my Miami Dolphins that year won the division, went to the playoffs. And so that shows me that if he doesn't have Tom Brady right there running the machine, it's not the same machine. So I'm giving more credit to Brady than I am to Belichick.
Don't you think that Cam could develop into that machine?
No. I mean,
really?
I'm cheering for Cam. I want him to reinvigorate his career. But have you seen him throw a ball? Oh, man, it's ugly.
I have.
It's ugly. The poor man's motion. But he's a monster. He's going to win some games just off his pure, just size and running ability. But his throwing is bad.
Yeah, I actually jumped ahead. That's going to be our third big decision. So let's stay on the Belichick and Brady. My bad. Tank, you spent some time there in New England in that locker room with the coach, with Tom Brady. What do you think? Who deserves more credit for the last 20 years of the Patriots dynasty?
Yeah, dog, and I'm gonna ride the fence like Seabiscuit. I'm gonna say it's both of them, and it's for the reasons that we've heard. Like, I understand that Tom Brady is the man, and I admit, like, Brady may be the GOAT. Like, what this dude was able to do with the talent that Bill Belichick put around him was like remarkable. But at the same time, I mean, he had Gronk, one of the best tight ends that ever played the game. He had Randy Moss for a little bit. Like, he made Edelman and he made Wes Welker into the players that they were. I won't say that they were, top players and Hall of Fame players, but they were solid players. He had Deion Branch, and so he had enough weapons around him with the solid line and the solid running game. And don't sleep on that. He had a running game that was able to carry him a lot, whether you have Corey Dillon in the backfield and some of these other guys. So he had enough talent around him with a really superior defense that helped him win those Super Bowls. And I think Brady showed that he can make the plays with his head and with his arm to be successful. Yet at the same time, Bill Belichick is the mad scientist where he's going to make sure he puts the pieces in place to get the best out of each player and the best out of every situation. Like, all we hear on TV right now is situational football. Bill Belichick is the OG of situational football. He's the reason that it's become in the lexicon of everyone around the league, because he would preach and harp on situational football in every practice, every time we're out there on the field. So when some guys have to call a timeout to try to figure out what you need to do in a certain situation, if you come out in a weird formation or anything, he's on top of that. And what you also see, if it trickles down, is how Mike Vrabel has been one of the kings of calling timeouts and doing all this stuff with this team and the best opportunity to win. Where do you think he got that from? For Bill Belichick. So it's one of those things where you always want to try to give someone credit and take away credit. I understand the Matt Castle argument, but what has Matt Castle done besides when he was in New England?
He made a lot of money.
Damn thing anywhere. So that also shows how Bill Belichick can put talent around somebody who may not be that good and then also get the best out of that person. So I think when you look at it from those standpoints, you have to give credit to both of them because both of them are the GOATs.
We're going to expand on the culture in New England a little bit after the big decisions because I have some questions about Bill Belichick and how he coaches and how he gets in your head, how he motivates everyone.
I kind of wanted to add to what Tank just said. Belichick is the master at situational football. And I think that's why they were so good for so long, especially when you have a quarterback with high football IQ like Tom Brady, because now, regardless of what the defense is coming in, I've seen it happen time and time again when the Patriots come out with the game plan in the first half and then they see what you're doing and they come up with a completely different game plan coming in the second half. And now if your team isn't ready to adjust, they go ahead and they extend that lead or continue to beat you down. And it was amazing watching it as a football player, but it's also frustrating too being on the other side.
Yeah, I can imagine that being frustrating. It's kind of like last night, Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator for the Patriots, came into the game against the Jets and they didn't really run Cam as much as they used to. They gave the Jets a little bit of a different look, and the Jets struggled with it a little bit. So that's both. All 3 points are very interesting, and I have nothing to add other than that. I don't really like Tom Brady just because he's such a jerk to everyone, and I know that might just be an ignorant comment because I've never met Tom Brady or spent time around him. But when he's on the sidelines and he's throwing picks and he's throwing it up in the air and he's yelling at everybody else, I just can't stand that. So
that's the thing, like, he's a fiery dude, but like I got up there, I didn't really touch the field in the regular season with New England because I blew out my knee. Man, Tom Brady didn't know me from a can of paint, but he invited me up to his house in Boston. Why? Because he hurt his knee. I mean, that's why I know about the Matt Castle thing. Like, I actually hurt my knee the same year Brady hurt his knee. So we were kind of rehabbing together. And so he invited me up to his house and had his guy Alex that everybody knows about working on me one day. And like, this dude didn't have to do that. Like, Tom Brady, like, if you're on this team, man, like one of the nicest dudes you ever meet. I mean, it's crazy, but I can understand how people could, especially like if you just tired of seeing the Patriots win, you see how fire he is on the sideline and stuff like that. It's easy to hate him, but like if you're in the locker room with him, like you can't do anything but love him.
Now that I know you got that special TB12 treatment, I got 2 questions for you. One, was Giselle home?
Yes.
And 2, did you try the avocado ice cream? I gotta know both of those.
Actually, man, we so old. That was before the avocado ice cream, and unfortunately, Giselle was not home.
Oh man, 1 for 2.
Yeah. Did you?
Hope your knee feels better, but damn, 1 for 2.
Did you guys ever watch the Tom versus Time thing that was on Facebook? It was a documentary about Tom, and he was kind of going through his treatment and everything, and Julian Edelman walked in on him getting a massage that was way up his leg, and Julian Edelman was giving him a lot of crap about that. So hopefully, Tank, you didn't get any massages while you were at Tom Brady's house.
Massage before the game, and I remember there was one time I'm in the training room because I lived in the training room during my NFL career, and there was like lotion flying everywhere. Like, fortunately, like we knew he was getting the massage, or you'd have thought some other things was going on.
Found the true secret
before the game.
Yeah, we have unveiled Tom Brady.
Hey, let's take it easy on the massages now. We know the massages went kind of far,
Yeah, man. I think Robert Kraft might have put him onto those massages now.
Nah, we not go. Nah, we going this way. We ain't even.
Right.
All right, bring us back, big man.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. Thank you for getting us back to earth, Marcus, because that could go in a really weird direction very quickly.
Lotion going everywhere.
Very quickly. All right, to our last big decision. What does Cam Newton do next year? We saw him last night with the Patriots. He won the game. He's kind of struggled this year. He had COVID. He hasn't looked the best. Does he stay or does he go from the Patriots after this season?
What does Cam Newton do?
Yeah.
The same thing Tommy Boy did. Throw the pats the deuces. Now, I understand that was basically his only opportunity to get in the league, and he's playing for a lot less than pretty much any other quarterback.
$1 million.
A lot of backups in the league right now. But Cam showed that he can still play. Is his throwing motion shit? Like, absolutely. Does he have bad feet in the pocket? Yeah. But he showed that he can use his legs, and he showed that he can win games when he doesn't have anything. And I mean, he don't have anything around him. And that dude is still out there, like, being competitive and still winning games. And I think after you show that you can come back, that you can still run the ball and move the ball with your legs, and you can still throw the ball accurately in the pocket, one, when you have time, and two, when people get open. If you just have somebody that continues to work with his mechanics, I think that you can still win with Cam, man. I mean, like Brady left because Bill Belichick had this dude driving a Pinto instead of buying him a new whip. And I don't think if he didn't get Brady a new car, he damn sure ain't gonna get Cam a new car. So if you want to drive that good whip, man, you got to get up out of there.
That's an interesting. That's actually makes a lot of sense when you explain it like that. And last night, though, I was nervous for Cam because he got hit so hard. My life flashed before my eyes. Man. It was scary to see him get hit that hard. And he's a big dude. He's 6'5", 6'6", 250 pounds. And as a former defensive player in the NFL, were you just licking your chops watching that hit, just straight on, nothing in front of you? He didn't even see you, and you're running right at the quarterback.
Man, and you hit him, and what Cam do? Like, he just eats it, and then he just get up and I mean, he talking about today, his neck a little sore, but you wouldn't even know anything from that last night. I mean, that just shows what kind of physical specimen that dude is. Like, he can take those licks and then keep on ticking, man. Like, the dude is a special talent who really doesn't get enough credit. I don't think he's going to get enough credit even this year because he has a lack of weapons, and he's going to have a lack of wins in the process. But I mean, Cam has been a phenomenal player in this league when healthy, and I think hopefully he's shown enough to get himself another opportunity. But for his sake, I'm hoping it's somewhere else besides New England where he actually has some talent that can help him win.
Oh, down the road, we need to talk about where Cam Newton should play. Greg, your big decision on this one. What does Cam do next year? Does he stay with the Patriots, or does he go find greener pastures?
I think Cam needs to stay with the Patriots, and I don't think he's played well enough this year to warrant being a franchise quarterback somewhere else and cashing in big. So the way I look at it is New England's going to draft a quarterback for the future. Cam is not your guy for the next 5 years. Cam could be your guy for another year or two, and I understand that I just trashed the way he throws. But I look at it as what they're doing in Miami with Ryan Fitzpatrick was the placeholder until Tua was ready. Let New England draft a quarterback. Cam can be your quarterback for a year. You give him an offseason of practice, which he was robbed from because of COVID. You let Belichick build around that, stick to the defense. They're already good. Figure out what Cam does really well, which is not throwing the ball. It's more of running the ball, and use him as that placeholder until you get your next guy.
All right, very succinct and clear. Now, Marcus, what do you think Cam Newton does next year? Does he stay or does he go?
I think he goes. You know, this is a 1 year deal. You know, I think Cam felt slighted enough when he wasn't picked up early, you know, as a franchise quarterback for a team. And you could see him playing, and you could see the competitiveness in him, that he still has that drive. He doesn't have the weapons around him. We all know that. But with a quarterback like him, I was talking to my pops the other day. He's a big Cam Newton fan too, just like me. We're all Auburn boys. Mm-hmm. But we all know if Cam holds that ball, Cam is almost a guaranteed 3-4 yards a pop. You know, like he can literally take the ball down the field himself, you know, 3-4 yards a time. He might not have the big explosive runs that you see with Lamar Jackson, but how many times have we seen good quarterbacks like Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes just extend the play a little bit, you know, get 8-9 here, you know, where now it's second and short or third and short, and we have more manageable downs, you know. If he can use his legs to where he can actually have defenses coming up to where we have to defend Cam Newton a little bit on this run, I think that opens up a lot for him downfield. And he still has the arm strength, you know. He continues to work on his mechanics. He continues to get healthier. And I promise you that ball is going to get more accurate. And we saw a lot of accurate throws yesterday on the way to that win. You know, he had to fit that ball in some tight windows on that last drive.
He did. And this is a question for all three of you. So if one of you has the immediate answer, go ahead and start. But this is where I come in. And when I see Cam on the sidelines kind of moping a little bit, and putting the towel over his head, it makes me think that the rest of his team might not be into that sort of body language. Is there anything to that? Is there anything to body language on the sideline, and specifically Cam Newton, to where guys might not want to follow his lead?
From what I've seen from watching Cam with his teammates, particularly in Carolina, they have fun. They look like they're having fun. They got their handshakes. They're smiling. They're having a good time. So to me, if I'm a guy that I am known for having fun, and then I put my towel on my head once, no big deal. If I got a bad attitude like Eli Manning had all the time, and then I put a towel on, that's a problem. But people seem to love playing with Cam Newton.
You guys have anything to say?
Hey, man, you know I'm always War Eagle for my boy, but right now, I respect where he is, because with the season they're at now, he's continuing to step up to the challenge. You know, he's not running away from it. He's not running away from the bad throws. He's not running away from, a fumble. You know, he's taking on responsibility for the things that are happening. And that's what a good quarterback and a leader of a team needs to do. I think it's hard not to show disappointment, especially at the quarterback level, especially when you have a camera in your face as much as Cam Newton. Every time it's coming to the sideline in a New England versus the Jets game, I would say 8 times out of 10, it's either going to be on Bill Belichick or Cam Newton. Mm-hmm. That's just a fact, So a lot of times you're going to see that frustration, and that's just a part of the game. If you're not frustrated when you do something bad, I don't really want you on my team, because you're not going to learn from that mistake.
That's a good point. What do you think, Tank, about Cam Newton's body language?
I would say that I believe it was more of a topic when he was in Carolina. I really haven't seen as much of that now with the Pats.
It's true.
But I would also say, just look at the post-game interview last night where Michelle Tafoya was saying she just loved seeing him smile. And he was like, man, I love smiling too. I got to win. I don't know any quarterback that's working their tail off all week long in practice, watching film and meetings, and then you go out there and you don't accomplish your goal at the end of the week. And what you expect him to be smiling all happy on the sideline? No, he's pissed off. If you look at Tom Brady, when he's mid-game and things aren't going his way, he's cursing, he's slamming his helmet, he's pissed off. And so I feel like that just shows his character. That shows that, he's fiery about wanting to be the best. He's fiery about wanting to win the games. And so I don't see anything wrong with that. And I think the one point is what Marcus was saying, man, or whether it was Marcus or Greg, I think maybe both, that his teammates love playing with him. When Cam is on the ball and he's smiling and they have the handshakes and everything going, that stuff is infectious, and it carries over not only to the offense, but to the defense, special teams, to the fans, and all that stuff. So I believe a lot of teams will want a guy like Cam on their squad versus the latter.
And that's why we do this show, because I would never think that way, but I got 3 pros telling me I should think that way, so I'm going to think that way, because
think that way.
Yeah, I don't know why. I've always just been turned off by Cam's, not antics, but just some of the things he does on the sideline. As a fan, I'm like, well, you got pretty good here. You're a quarterback in the NFL. But at the same time, I think about my job and how much, what I want to accomplish. And if I don't accomplish that, then I'm a little pouty as well. So I'm just not on national television on Monday Night Football.
Scrappy, I'd make it similar to Phillip Rivers. So Big Mac and I both played with him and love the energy that he brings as a teammate. Now watching him on the outside, watching him on TV where he's always complaining to refs, trying to get calls changed, it bothers me. But that's the fan perspective. Having been his teammate, I love it. As a fan, shut up, Phil. Let's move on.
See, that's interesting, because I really love when Phil does that. I love when he's barking at people, when he's trying to make tackles, when he is trying to help someone up. And
Don't do that. Don't do that. That tackle was. Don't do my boy like that.
Phil tripped over the 35-yard line.
Don't bring that up.
Yeah. Okay. I'll leave that off the table. But I do love Philip in his fire. That's it for the big decisions, and now we're going to get into Tank in your career a little bit. I'm going to turn it over to Greg. He had some of these thoughts about what we should talk about, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, so a lot of the season has been focused on Tennessee, the amazing run they did last year, and then how they're playing this year, and then New England going from dynasty to trash dump that they're in right now. And we all know, we've all heard the stories. New England is just a different environment. It's a different player experience. It's a different organization. but none of us have been on the inside except for you, Tank. So what is different about New England that you experienced there than the other teams you played for?
Like it's like you said, man, like it's a different world and it's really hard to explain until you're there. I probably had more fun at my other stops, like in Minnesota and Tennessee, but New England, like as soon as you walk in the door, like the first thing you see is do your job. I mean, you hear all the former players like on ESPN, whether it's Brewski and all these other guys, Rodney Harrison on TV, talking about do your job, and then they list off all the other things. But it's almost like you're looking at the 10 Commandments whenever you walk into the stadium. And that's like the mantra that everybody has in New England. All you do is focus on doing your job and being the best player you can be and just doing what you can to help the team win. And Belichick holds everyone accountable, whether it's contrived or not. Like whenever you get through the first practice of training camp, he's going to find a reason to get on Brady's ass. And the reason that he does that is to show that if I'm going to yell at Tom Brady, then I'm going to yell at any last one of y'all to make sure that y'all are out there working hard and doing the job, so I know I can count on you to do what you're supposed to do, whether it's on defense, offense, special teams, when your number is called. And I believe that part is what that's the glue that holds everything together. But then at the same time, you have a Tom Brady who busts his tail and like works hard. Like, I mean, Brady's call was always there. And like, he's always meeting with the coaches, like always pissed off. If he makes the slightest mistake in practice, like this dude is pissed off, like he threw a pick in the Super Bowl. And we see that like on the film every time that you're watching the game. And so I think it's the attention to detail, the desire of everyone in that organization to want to be great. I mean, and it's one of those things where it's hard to explain because you would think about it like, well, that's like that at every team. Like everybody wants to do that, but I don't know if it's just that people in New England are just willing to take those extra steps that other teams don't, or it's just that they're that much more well coached. But I mean, like, I think that Bill Belichick and the success that he's had, like, I mean, he's one of the smartest football minds that I've ever been around. I mean, I'll say that. And I think the fact that he's a hard ass, he's a really smart guy, and he can back it up with rings. Like he's willing to, like he's able to get away with a lot of stuff that other coaches can't. And so you may see where a Matt Patricia and all these other guys try to go to other places and try to be a hard ass and try to instill that New England way in other places. And man, you know, they got guys like getting paid more than the coaches sometimes. And like, if you ain't win the games, like, hey dog, you got to go on with that bullshit. But Bill Belichick, like, yeah, dog, I'm gonna fight for you because I know if I listen to what you say, there's a high probability that I'm gonna get a ring. And I think it's all that combined which makes New England special, and that's why they're able to go on a hell of a run like they have for like the past 2 decades.
Well, real quick about
sorry, let me dig in on Belichick real quick. So the Belichick I know is the guy on the sideline with the cutoff hoodie, the dude who went to a press conference with a hoodie with 47 holes in it, the weird dude doing Subway commercials. He seems like a sociopath, like something like he can't function in the world. Like his whole goal in life is to think football. Yeah. Is that what is he weird? When you're in a meeting with him, is he odd or does he become a normal human being when the cameras aren't on him?
No, he is who he is. I mean, he has that dry sense of humor. Like he eats, breathes, sleeps, shits football. Like that dude's whole life revolves around football. But at the same time, like, man, the dude has a sense of humor. Like he'll let it out in some of the meetings sometimes where like when the social media age was coming on right when I was there and he was like, I don't want you guys on my face and Facebook. So he'll have like his little jokes. The thing is like he'll go to those jokes and say them every year. But at the same, because that's all he got. But like at least he has like a dry sense of humor and stuff like that. But like he doesn't worry about what the people on the outside say. Like he doesn't worry about outside noise. All he worries about is like what he can do to be the best coach and how he can coach up every player on his roster to get the most out of him. And that's the thing, like, that's why, like, he brought me in, I think, to just do one specific job. And that was it. Like, I've seen this player do X, Y, Z. I see this trend happening in the league. So I'm going to have you come and you may be able to play a little bit of special teams, but I'll use you as a blitzer, as a kind of pseudo Mike linebacker. I'll have you cover some big wide receivers in the slot and cover tight ends. And if you could do that for me, then we can win in these specific matchups. So he may have a certain requirement for you. It may just be one defensive scheme, but as long as you can do that well, like perfect example, Matthew Slater was a rookie when I was there. Matthew Slater is going to probably end up going to the Hall of Fame. All Matt Slater does is run down on kickoffs, and punts and make plays. He'll play a little bit of a DB, a little bit of a wide receiver. But he's a dude that works his tail off each and every day for I don't know how many years now. And he's like one of the heart and soul players of that organization. I think he's a perfect example where we all know his name. A lot of people don't, but they should, because he's just that type, prototypical New England player who doesn't need a lot of fanfare. He just goes about his job each and every day and tries to be the best. And he actually is one of the best at what he does.
Man, you're making me dislike them a little less. I despise the Patriots, and now you're making it sound all right. Come on.
No, my mom hates the Patriots more than anyone, but at the same time, you got to respect the hustle, man. You got to respect
true.
what you do.
It's facts.
It just seems so boring. I don't know how else to put it. It just seems so boring. Like how you say,
Expand.
Cam loves to have fun, right? And whenever I'm thinking about Cam having a good time or being great on the field, I see him spreading his shirt with the Superman, you know what I'm saying? I see the high fives and the daps, and I can't even recall a high five from a New England Patriots game now that I'm sitting back thinking about it.
They don't high five. Tom Brady on the bench. They don't do that.
Yeah, I don't see the defense running up to the, to the camera after the interception. Or, you know what I'm saying? It's like you just do your job and go home. And I'm not that type of player. When I was out on the field, every time we went out on the field, it was almost like going in the backyard and playing with my best friends when I played on it. And I felt like that's why we were good, because, it wasn't a job to us. It was something that we love to do. You know what I'm saying? When I see Bill Belichick, I just don't know if me personally, he could bring that love for the game out with that type of just atmosphere going on. I respect
it out though, winning, because I feel like Rob Gronkowski loves the game and likes to have fun the way that we do. And you would think that Rob would be an eyeball up there. He wasn't there when I was, but that's one of the wildest dudes we've seen in the league in a while.
True.
One thing they do is they win, and he had his fun. After they would win, he'll be straight laced during the season. But after they catch that Super Bowl win in that ring, hey, catch me in Vegas, Doc.
So I got a question for all three of you based off of that. So Lane Johnson, offensive tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles, he said, "I'd rather have fun and win a Super Bowl than be miserable and win 5 Super Bowls." So think about that. Would you, like Big Mac said, rather be on a team where you're having a blast and you got 1 ring, or would you rather at the end of the day not enjoy your football but have 5 rings?
I'll get myself out of the way real quick because I was the one who was closest to playing in the NFL throughout my high school career. But I would say, and this is going to sound crazy, but I've been in some terrible work situations before where I hated my life and I just would wake up dreading going to work, and I would wake up or go to sleep dreading waking up going to work. It was just this really bad cycle. And without being a guy who played in the NFL and knows what it takes to get to a Super Bowl and win a title, I'm saying let's have some fun. Give me 1 title, and I could tell my grandkids for the rest of my life, I played in that 1 game. We won that 1 game, but I had a great time playing while I was in my 8-year NFL career.
Yeah.
It's great. I'm with you 100%, man. In Miami, we had Bill Parcells, who came from New England and brought the same attitude. I had my best receiving years, but was the most stressed out and had the least fun. Whereas when I was in San Diego with Big Mac, I barely played. I had more tackles than I didn't have a catch, period. I had just had tackles. But I had a blast. I had a great time. So I think I'd rather have 1 Super Bowl and have a good time along the way.
I'm gonna take that same stance though, Greg, because to be honest, I don't think with 5 I get any GOAT talk. I don't think I'm going to move up any list as an offensive lineman with 4 or 5 things. You know what I'm saying? So unless I'm just trying to make my trophy cabinet look better, I'll take that 1. As long as I can have a long, nice career, I'll take that 1 and be fine with it.
And I guess I'm going to be the eyeball again, because when I look at it, I'm like, man, it's not that bad. Unfortunately, I didn't get a ring, but it wasn't that bad. At the same time, I played in Minnesota before Greg got there, and I played for Brad Childress. And that was one of them situations where, we had fun up there. We partied our asses off in Minnesota, but the ball was bad. The offense hated the defense. Brad Childress, like the coaches hated the players hated the coach. Like that was just a bad situation. So when I think about just not having fun and not winning, or not having as much fun as you can have at another place, but then you win a whole bunch of ships, like, man, that junk be on the slant. Like everything ain't the same. And so like I gladly take all them rings and maybe not have as much fun during the season, but then I'll more than make up for it
after the season. Oh, touche.
And that's from the man on the inside. So, that's a little more insight on that answer.
Hey, I like that. You're right. Because if I ship 5 times in a row, the offseason going to be crazy. You're right. I'm changing my answer. Tank got me to switch.
Now, let me ask, like, for someone like Tom Brady, he's a sociopath. Is that okay to say? I don't know if I should say that. But
yeah.
Because for Tom Brady, it seems like winning is everything and fun is nothing. Fun is last. Winning is everything. And did that wear on guys in the New England locker room that he was always just so focused on winning, and you can't stop him in the hallway and make a joke with him?
No, but you can.
Okay. See, that's the stuff I don't know.
Yeah, no, you can. Like if you out there in the meeting room or in the practice field, like he's about that business. But like as far as like having fun with guys in the locker room and all that stuff, like Tommy Boy is cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Tommy Boy is Tommy Boy. Yeah.
The fact that his name is Tommy Boy lets me know that he has to have some cool to him. You got to.
It's Gravy. I think we just want to hate him so bad that we just paint him as a terrible human being.
I know.
He's a nice guy, man. This is terrible.
That's what happens when he beats your ass so long. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, exactly I got tired of getting my ass whooped by the Patriots. So like I just learned to hate him. You know what I'm saying? Like I hate this guy.
I mean, a lot of people learned to hate him. I did too. Like, yeah.
Well, you kind of have to have that mindset to play against him. If you like the guy, it's not gonna. I guess you're not going to take that shot. Maybe I'm wrong. You're probably going to take that shot if you got the shot on Tom Brady. But at the same time, it's got to be a much harder to play good ball, as you guys would say, and play against Tom Brady if you hate him.
I don't know about that. Like I remember playing against a couple former teammates, like Troy Walters. He was like a good receiver that we had at Stanford. He ended up playing in Indianapolis, and so we'd play them twice a year. And he would be out there at Gunner, and I was like the guy pressing up on him. And Troy was like a little dude. Troy was about 5'5", something like that.
Small guy, yep.
Like he may be about 160 soaking wet, and I would be out there trying to give Troy the business because we couldn't hit him in college. And like I love Troy, like really good dude, but like boy, if I got out there face to face with Troy, I was trying to bury that cat.
All right, man.
I'll edit this out. Now, Tank, what do you think about this year's Tennessee Titans, and who's your favorite player on the team? What would you think about having to tackle Derrick Henry?
I mean, well, I would say that's my favorite player. Like I made it a mission to get him on the majority of my fantasy teams this year, just because I like seeing that dude stiff arm the hell out of the Jaguars. And man, I mean, dog, did y'all see what he did to Josh Norman this year,
yes.
bro?
Oh man, Josh Norman should have retired.
Like, dog, I mean, he stiff armed that dude's soul out of his body. Like that joint, like stuff like that is not right. It's not right for a dude that big to be able to get through the hole and then sprint 99 yards and nobody be able to catch him. Like that dude is a physical freak. But I think that, like me personally, like if I had to tackle him, I think you said that, like I'm just diving at straight feet, dog. Like I ain't trying to get everything from the ankle up because he'll end up just putting that imprint on your head, dog, and you'll be reaching up grabbing like Phillip Rivers was last week trying to grab at straws, bro. But like, I mean, the thing that I like about Tennessee is like one thing that we kind of talked about, like you have Mike Vrabel there, who's a New England guy. And so it's like a no nonsense, like everybody's there. They know what their job is. Everyone is disciplined. And he has those guys playing really good ball. Like obviously they dropped a couple games and today able to get back on the winning track this week against Chicago. I mean, but they're a well-balanced team that gets the most out of their players. And I think the perfect example is like, look at the ball Ryan Tannehill is playing. Like when I used to talk about fantasy football, like a few years ago, like Ryan Tannehill was the butt of like every joke that I would throw out there. And Tannehill is playing like some really solid ball for like an NFL quarterback, not just a fantasy quarterback, an NFL quarterback this year. And so I think having the coaching, the discipline, and those guys just playing with the energy, like, man, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with because they were last year and they came out of nowhere.
So, Tank, you talk about diving at Derrick Henry's feet, and that's the only option if you want to survive that. But I'm looking at defenders now, and this is why we need your defensive perspective on the podcast. And I'm seeing these dudes get penalized for the slightest little hits. And I was on offense. I played some special teams, never really had to learn how to tackle. But with the way defensive rules are now, can you tackle without putting your head into it? Can you learn to be a hard hitter without getting penalized each week?
No, I mean, because you're trying to you're trying to stop the offensive player from making a play. So they want you to, one, try to stop him from making a play. Two, while you're doing that full speed, be able to like try to maneuver your head, shoulder, and all that stuff, getting out of the way, while at the same time, the offensive player is trying to make a play and trying to move. So that means I have to be able to guess which way he's going to duck and try to cover from me hitting him. Like, now there's some plays out there where it's just blatant. You're like, come on, dog. Like, you can't do that. Like, protect your fellow brother out there. Like, we all trying to live and play like long careers just so we can better ourselves and our family and stuff like that. So we know what's like legit, and when you have somebody that's out there just trying to cheap shot. And a lot of times you get like these little calls where, I mean, it's like we have so many judgment calls in the league right now. It shouldn't be difficult for someone who, maybe we need to have somebody looking at the game that's actually played to be like, all right, in this situation, the defender could get out of the way. And then this one, like, maybe you should just let that slide. But then I guess it gets a little bit too wishy-washy for the rules. I understand what they're trying to do to protect players, but there are always those certain plays and instances where I'm like, come on, man. Like, what do you expect the player to do in this situation? So that's why I get frustrated. But I don't have like a resolution for it, honestly, because I just talked about why they do it and at the same time why I don't like it. So
I'm glad to hear that perspective, because I watch every week and I'm like, I can't imagine how you teach a guy to not hit somebody with your head, but your shoulder, and they're inches away. And you just confirmed that it's just not easy to do.
Yeah, I just can't really see it. Like you say, like having to manipulate your body to stop somebody's force from coming, like it's already a task in itself, right? To come up and hit somebody man to man anyway, but then like to try and contort your body in these certain ways to keep from hitting them in the head and neck area. I think the worst thing for me is probably the quarterbacks. Like, I understand protecting the quarterbacks, but they might as well be walking around out there with a yellow jacket on, you know what I'm saying? Give them a crossing guard and an extra referee on their side.
Put some cones around them.
Yeah, because you can't touch him
now. If you blow on the quarterback like Lance Stevenson blew on LeBron, if you get him with the flag, bro, it's flag.
And that also, a lot of that stems from that injury we talked about, Tom Brady and his knee. You can't, because of that hit, you can't hit a quarterback with below his knee. And I mean, what are you supposed to do when you're falling to the ground and you got to hit a quarterback?
The thing too, dog, is like, I mean, one of the most memorable plays in NFL history over the past few years is what? Stephon Diggs on the Minneapolis Miracle. And why did that play happen? Because the safety didn't want to get a flag for like hitting the defensive receiver. So instead of hitting him, he don't even pinch him. He just run right by. And then you have a game-winning touchdown on a play that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah,
that's a great point. And as a fan, I am big time on the defensive player side, because last night, we keep referencing last night in that hit on Cam, but they called that a penalty, and he did hit him a little high, I guess. And Louis Riddick said he didn't really see it, but he could understand it because it was so high. But it's making the game not as fun for me to watch, because every time someone gets hit hard, 5 years ago, that hit would have been celebrated. This year, it's a fine and a 15-yard penalty. And now you're putting a team into scoring position when they shouldn't be there. And I specifically am going to reference week 1 when the 49ers played the Cardinals, and late in the game, the 49ers got a roughing the passer penalty or an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on Kyler Murray. But really all he did was just dive over the top of him. I think at least you got to maybe go look at these on the review them. Like you said, I really like that player idea though. I think that's pretty interesting to have a player in the booth who is saying like, yes, he was able to get out of the way, or this was actually just a malicious hit. So I actually really like that player idea. And I hope that they figure this out, because I'm tired of seeing the flags go up, first down automatically. And it just ruins the game for me. It really does.
Defenseless
hits, dog. I mean, that used to be the favorite part of the game. When somebody get hit and you, ooh.
Yeah, I'm gonna say defenseless player. You know, where a guy doesn't have a to like protect himself.
Yeah,
there's nowhere for that in the game.
Yeah,
and then if a guy's already on the ground coming in and hitting him with the cheap shot, there's a place for that in the game. But this is a gladiator sport to me. And we all know what we were getting into when we signed up for it.
That's true. That's very true. Let's move to some of the other topics that hit the NFL in the last couple of weeks. And they're having the owners have developed a new COVID playoff format. And I wanted to get your guys' thought on that because they're going to have they already have 7 teams for each conference this year. And if games get canceled at the end of the year, instead of trying to make them up and all that stuff, they're going to allow one more team into the playoffs. There'll be 16 total teams, 8 on each side. So let's start with you, Tank. What do you think about that? Do you like that idea?
Man, I really haven't given it much thought, but all I can say is the more teams in it, the more games I get to watch, the better. So,
That's true.
If it adds another extra game for me to watch in the playoffs, I'm all for it. And that's all I really got to say about it. I mean, I feel like regardless of how many teams get in the playoff, the cream is going to always rise up to the top. And so other than that, man, just give me my ball and let me just kick my feet up and watch some good football.
I do love that. But at the same time, I don't want to see 2 6 and 10 teams fighting it out with the 8th seed, because the NFC East is
if we get an extra team, that means there's going to be one more team to take up for the garbage NFC East team that's going to steal the playoff spot. So.
And they're going to steal a home game too. They're going to steal a home game as well.
That's the worst ever.
Stealing a home game as a NFC East team or as a under 500 team?
Yeah, just the fact that somebody from the NFC East is going to make it to the playoffs is like the worst ever. You know what I'm saying?
Gross. It really is gross.
So what do you think about the new playoff format or proposed playoff format, Marcus?
Yeah, I'm right along with Tank. I'm a football guy. We all know doing on Sunday, Monday and Thursday. We turning on the tube, man. We hate to see it go. So to add an extra team and an extra playoff spot, especially in the playoffs, because we all know the playoffs is a different breed of football than the regular season, and you can see anything because it's win or go home. It's not something where it's like the NBA or the Major League Baseball where you got the best of a series. No, it's you come in and you strap up, you have a bad game, guess what? We'll see you sure. And it happens just like that. So, you don't know what's going to happen. So the spontaneity that's happening in football like that, I love to see it. Keeps you locked in. So the more the merrier.
What do you think, Greg?
I'm going to play devil's advocate just to give the other side of this perspective. And it hit me when you said there would be 16 teams in the playoffs. That's half of the league.
Uh-huh.
When we played, it was an honor to make the playoffs. You had to work hard. You had to be a good team. I don't want every middle of the road team, 1 through 16, to make the playoffs. And the other thought is football, why we love football, why fans love watching football is literally every play can change the outcome of a game. So you take a team that's 8-8, the 16th ranked team playing the 3rd ranked team, and all it takes is one tip of a ball that's an interception, one fumble, and suddenly you got this trash team playing in the second round that's playing Pittsburgh, that's playing Kansas City. We don't want to see that. And then I also want to throw this wrinkle in as a potential strategy. So say you are on the outside of a playoff bubble looking in. You're 1 or 2 games away. And if you can get your game canceled, they expand the playoffs and you get in. Do you send your practice squad guys to the bar to mouth kiss everyone they can possibly mouth kiss, get your game canceled, and you're in the playoffs?
I mean, I'm all for it, but I know I don't think that's going to work for the other 2 guys. What do you guys think?
There is there is no level that Greg is not willing to go to as a general manager.
Right.
To make sure his team
hey, man, it's the Belichick approach, man. Everybody do your job. Look, son, you're not playing this week, but I need you to go to the bar.
I need you to go to the bar and make out with someone.
I need you to go to the bar and catch COVID-19.
Take one for the team, man. Take one for the team.
I mean, look, that brain is always turning. All those case studies have just put up a different level.
That's sad. That's one of the first things I thought of. But
we can still make this happen. We can still make this happen.
All you need to do, let's get COVID, let's cancel our game, and we're going to make the 8th seed, and we're going to drive us through the playoffs.
Hey, man, we've seen worse. People have done worse things.
So Greg posed this question on his NBC show, and I think this is an awesome question. And it's, which old-ass quarterback still has it? Who needs to call it a career? And he put some choices down here. Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, Alex Smith, who is one of the best stories of the NFL this season, Phillip Rivers, and Matt Ryan. And it goes on to say, Greg wrote, I believe this was Greg writing, Brees and Brady have it. Matt and Smith can go. So let's start from there. And that was you writing that, right, Greg?
Not the last part, but I'm curious to see who wrote that and why.
Was that you, Marcus?
Oh, that was me, man. You
okay, all right. Hey. Well, let's start with you then.
I mean, let's just be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like Drew Brees and Tom Brady, they've continually showed, regardless of how old they are, they remind me of that guy in that 40-year-old basketball league who can still hoop. You know what I'm saying? Like they come out night in and night out and still gonna play their same game.
And they're annoying about it too.
Yeah, it's not the flashes, you know what I'm saying? It's not the best, but they get out there and, you know, they run a great point guard for you, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna drop some dimes to their best athlete and they're gonna make their team win. So when you have teams like, when you have a couple of guys like that, I think they still have more in the tank. You could put guys like Gronkowski coming back just to play with you. You know, you got a guy like AB. Like you're talking about rejuvenating Tom Brady for at least another year or two. Drew Brees, he looks the same age since he got in the league. I don't know if it's because of his height or what, but he looks the same to me. So, you know, and on the flip side of that, you know, with Matt Ryan and Alex Smith, you know, I liked Alex Smith quarterback. You know, I liked his career, but I just don't really see him being able to come back and save the Washington, you know, football team. I'm just being honest. And then I'm an Atlanta boy, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't really like when they got rid of Mike Vick, you know what I'm saying? So Matt Ryan really had to show me something, and he ain't got nothing, you know what I'm saying? He went up on New England 28-3, got the whole city hype, you know what I'm saying? And then turned around and blew it, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry. I love Matt, like, as a person, you know what I'm saying? Great guy.
Yeah.
Great guy. But just don't think that, you know, he's going to be able to get over that hump in Atlanta. It's about that time to, you know, right that ship and get us somebody new.
What do you think, Greg?
So I think to be a quarterback, an effective quarterback in the NFL today, you have to be mobile. You have to be able to avoid a blitz and still make a play. Aaron Rodgers has that at a high level. Drew Brees still has that. Tom Brady does not. And we have seen him, his arm strength is deteriorating. He's thrown some bad interceptions. I think this is it for Tom Brady. I think this is his final run. Big Ben, he's not mobile, but he's so big that he just shakes off blitzers. But Phillip Rivers, man, this last week he tripped on himself. That's the opposite of mobility. And then Alex Smith, great story, man. But I worry about him. I feel like I'm his grandma watching him play. Like, don't break your legs, sonny.
I agree.
Yeah.
And so I still believe in Aaron Rodgers, and I still believe in Drew Brees and Big Ben. Everybody else, I think they're over the hill and time to go.
What do you think, Tank, out of Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, Alex Smith, Phillip Rivers, and Matt Ryan? Which one of those guys can stay and which can go?
Man, I like a lot of those guys like Brady and Brees. You know, I agree with all the talking points, but like, man, A-Rod, like he still got that arm, still has the mobility. He still got that swag too, dog. He got that chip on his shoulder, and like, man, he's playing some of his best ball this year. He got Devontae Adams out there balling. Like, the Packers going to be right in it in the NFC and likely in the Super Bowl. So I really like what he's showing. And like, we already hit on it so many times already. But bro, Phillip Rivers, like, after you get curdled and hurdled, like on national TV, like, man, dog, like it's a wrap, bro. He need to go.
Still winning though. They still winning. Give my boy a shot, man.
You know, there are a lot of people that are still picking the Colts to win the Super Bowl. So. That's
the thing. Like, actually, Philly, like, I like how he plays with fire. He can still move the ball at times, but like, other than like having those bad plays happen every once in a while, like that, where he just looks old and clumsy, like he's good for throwing like a pick or 2 or 3 or 4 in the game. And especially like when you need him to play well, he's going to give it to the other team. And like, we only wait. I mean, it's only going to be a matter of time before that happens. Like right when the Colts need to win that game, like just like the 49ers need Jimmy G to win that game. And are you going to win it or are you going to lose it? more than likely Philly gonna lose it. But he's a hell of a player, or at least he was.
That's funny.
Slightly related to this. When I was going into my last year in the NFL, I was a free agent and couldn't find a team. I called up Bill Parcells to try to get him to pull some strings to get me back in the league. And he basically was convincing me to retire. But he told me, he's like, look, Greg, when you're 40 years old, you're going to be able to run a slant and get open and catch the ball. But there's going to be somebody younger that can do it better. And that's how I feel about some of these quarterbacks. Phillip Rivers can still ball, but there's going to be somebody younger that can just do it better and more consistently.
I think in one of our first podcasts, Greg and I did, we talked about Phillip Rivers, and we talked about whether or not we thought that it was the Chargers curse for Phillip and the way he finishes games sometimes. But we're unfortunately kind of finding that it's the Phillip curse. It's the Phillip curse. So I love Phillip Rivers. Went to dinner with him one time. I'm cooler with him than Marcus McNeil is. So that's all good. I do love Phillip.
Where did you eat, Scraby?
We went, actually, it was for Nick Hardwick's induction into the Breitbart Hall of Fame here in San Diego. And I was just sitting there and I look over and Phillip Rivers is sitting next to me. So I was like, oh, this is cool.
Nice.
That's one of those things where I was too afraid to talk to him.
Come on, man. You talk for a living.
True,
Bro,
true.
We can't give Phillip any credit or take any credit for him for not making a tackle. Okay, it's not his job. All right, that is not Phillip's job. Okay?
You're right. He's not paid to tackle.
He's not paid. I'd rather my quarterback just get out the way anyway. Like I pay you.
True.
To throw.
That's the thing, though, dog. He wasn't trying to get out the way. He was actually trying to make a play. That's what makes it worse.
That is really funny. And then, like, as NFL players around the league, are you guys laughing about it like we are now, or are you guys just so focused you don't really see it?
Oh, you're laughing at Phil. Absolutely.
Okay.
You got to laugh.
His teammates in film are laughing at him.
I love it.
Coaches are getting a good chuckle out of him.
All right, let's move to our last segment of the podcast.
Put on your word association hats because it's rapid fire time.
Greg, you're up first here, and the first name is Ben Roethlisberger.
Still got it.
Hank?
Still hurt.
Marcus?
Offensive lineman disguised as a quarterback.
I like that. Ben Roethlisberger took a beating on Sunday. Both of his knees are like injured or something like that. That guy taking a beating his entire career. All right, Marcus, we're going to go back to you. AJ Brown.
DK Metcalf 2.
Oh, I like that. Okay. Tank, what do you think? AJ Brown. He's a Titans guy.
Yeah, big fast.
Big fast. Greg?
Chess piece. They're using him beautifully. He's just a little piece in the game.
Okay. Let's go back to the top, Greg. Baker Mayfield.
The Rona. He's on that COVID list. He took one for the team. He's trying to get the Browns into the playoffs is what he's trying to do.
Oh, I like it. I like it. There's a conspiracy theory here. Baker's faking the COVID so that he can miss a couple games, get the Browns into that last spot. What do you think, Tank? First thing that comes to mind, Baker Mayfield.
Johnny Manziel.
Oh, I mean, that comparison has been made before. Has been made. Marcus? Baker Mayfield.
Great commercials.
Oh, yes. His commercials are amazing.
Like, they are amazing. The one where he's locked out of the, trying to bring the groceries in.
Yeah, he's like, hey, someone come help me.
Somebody I left my keys. Like, hey, he has the acting career regardless of what's going on.
Oh, for sure. I love it when he does the one where they're doing the book club and he's like, let's vote him out.
Is it bad that a starting QB got no love for being a quarterback on the first reactions? That's not a good sign for your career.
It tells me he has something off the field because he's a polarizing guy. He can find himself a job off the field.
Yeah. He's like something big to pop culture, like Baker Mayfield. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's him. That's that guy.
Man, Baker Mayfield reminded me of Dirk Diggler.
Yes. Especially when he had last year when he had that mustache that no one liked, and it was like the super creepy mustache that he was going up to the
handlebars.
Yeah. I can't remember now who I'm on. I think I'm back at. I don't know. I'll just start with
Tank. Tank's going first.
Tank. Okay, Tank's up first. Carson Wentz.
That's it. That's it. That's it. That's
I
perfect.
feel like that's every Philadelphia fan, coach, teammate. Just
There is so Philadelphia just every time he snaps the ball, just one big exhale of like disgust. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Marcus, Carson Wentz. That's all we're gonna think about now. That's all we're gonna think about for the rest of his career.
Yeah, like
See, there's no words. It's just an audible gasp.
I just don't know what to say.
I'm fine with both of your answers.
Yeah.
Watching the video, he tried so hard to get a real word out too, right?
He did.
All he had.
Yeah. I love that. What do you think, Greg? Do you have any audible words, or is it just a disgusted gasp?
And what I'm gonna say gives me the reaction that they said, but NFC East champion.
Oh, there's only one reaction to anything Philadelphia Eagles.
It's gross, but they're not in the East.
Yeah. Ugh. I did it again. I didn't even mean to do it.
Like that.
Let's move to you, Marcus. Bruce Arians.
Ooh, love him.
What's that?
I love him.
You love him. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Tank.
I actually like Bruce Arians.
Okay.
I like his honesty. I like how he's doing the same thing to me Bill Belichick was saying that Tank was saying Bill Belichick would do to him. So I feel like he must know, you know what I'm saying, what it's going to take to keep him fired up and keep that team behind him. So he's going to keep on poking that bear.
Oh, good point. What do you think, Tank? What's the first thing that comes to mind when I say Bruce Arians?
I love it because I'm gonna say my one word, but you already provided the context, Marcus. 100.
100. He gonna keep it 100 with you, man.
Greg?
I have nothing else to add. I think that is absolutely perfect. I love what he's doing with Tom Brady.
Oh, man. I am the only guy, like I've been on our show all the time. I'm not a big Bruce Arians fan just because he left the Cardinals, said he was never going to coach again. And then he was offered a job with some better players on it. He was like, you know what? I am going to coach again, and I'm going to go to Tampa Bay. That really bothered me for some reason. I don't know why that bothered me. Why? I don't know. This is just my brain. It just bothered me.
You're a San Fran.
Gravy's known for being a little bit of a hater. Just to put that out there, though.
I am a little bit of a hater. That's why I play this role very well. It just like he told his team, I'm going to quit because I have health issues. And then 2 years later, he's back coaching. What does that tell your team? I'm on a terrible team. My coach didn't even want me.
He healed. He got better in those 2 years.
He got great doctors. Exactly.
What do you say, Tank?
You like Urban Meyer?
No.
Okay.
No. Are they comparisons?
Yeah.
I mean, well, you know, he retired for health reasons.
Oh, I see where you're going with that. Yeah, we all know why he retired, and it wasn't because of health reasons. It was because he was never going to get another scholarship at Ohio State again.
I mean, the way Arizona was playing, they were going to give him more health issues if he didn't.
Okay. So it was better for him to quit.
True. Exactly.
I love that. We talked about him a lot today, but Greg, you're up first on this one. Cam Newton.
Big. The man's 6'5", like 245, and that's his biggest asset is his size and the way he runs. So just big.
Tank.
Still there.
All right, Marcus.
Comeback king, baby. Comeback king.
All right.
They setting the stage for him. Watch what he do, man. He gonna turn into a show.
I love that because Cam Newton, when he's playing well and when he's putting up numbers, it is fun to watch Cam Newton quarterback. Last one, we're gonna finish up with you, Tank, starting first. And you guys just reminded me of this guy just a bit ago, Devontae Adams.
Ooh. Can't guard Devontae.
Marcus?
Oh man, I'm gonna call him Inspector Gadget. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he got all the tools. He got all the tools you need out there on the edge to go get it done. Big play. He gonna get you yards, first downs, touchdowns, whatever you need, baby. Go Gadget.
Greg, Davante Adams. As a wide receiver, are you just in awe of what he's doing right now?
Love what he's doing. It's yes. Sorry, my word is going to be Swiss Army knife, because he goes deep. He catches the big ball. He can run a route, catch a short ball. They can move him around and slide. You can put him anywhere, and he's effective, and I love watching it.
Last little branch out of this. He said last week that he is the best wide receiver in the NFL. Do you guys agree with that? And I'll start with our wide receiver, Greg.
No.
Who's the best?
Oh, my goodness.
DK? Julio?
Oh, wow, this is hard. If I'm starting let's live. Well, yeah, we'll let him live in the glory. We'll go for it. Why not? But if I'm starting a team for the future, I'm starting with DK just because his future is bright. But if I need somebody right now to get open, yeah.
What do you guys think, Tank?
I mean, like we can talk about DK, Julio, and all these cats who I love. And like, I'm the biggest Julio Jones fan. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, Julio is that dude. But the one thing I can say about Davante is that who's his number two? He don't have
Hazard.
One. He don't have one. He's still out there doing that work. Like, Davante is that dude.
See, this is why I get a different perspective every time we talk about players, and I just don't. This is what I love about the show. Marcus, what do you think about Davante? Is he the best receiver?
I like Davante, definitely top 5 receiver in the league, but I'm not going to give him the number 1 spot. DK Metcalf is just doing like some incredible things with the ball. I even like A.J. Brown in Tennessee. Like, he's making some tremendous catches. They're turning on warp speed, you know what I'm saying, taking it to the house. Like, I want a big, fast receiver. I want that guy. I want that X receiver, that one guy, you know, that horse that can, you know what I'm saying, jump up, get that 50-50 ball for me half the time, you know what I'm saying? And Davante Adams, he's a great quarterback, you know, and all these guys have great quarterbacks, but I got to take DK right now based off of what he's doing this year.
Yeah, and he just seems like a good dude, fun dude, just having fun playing football. Well, that is it for episode number 3. Before we get out of here, do you guys have anything in closing? Thank you so much, Tank, for coming on the podcast and lending your expertise.
Appreciate you, Tank. For 1 hour, I didn't hate Tom Brady, but as soon as we shut this off, I'm going back to it.
Hey, Tank, I gotta ask for our fans, is the real name Tank? Is it Tank? Is that your real name?
Well, since I was knee-high to a gumdrop, people have been calling me Tank, but the given name is Cleveland. I like to say it's French.
Okay.
I roll with Tank. Like, my grandmother called me Tank, teachers, principals.
All right.
See, that's awesome.
If your grandma call you Tank, then I'll call you Tank, dude. You know what I'm saying?
I just called you Tank because I was too afraid to ask you for your real first name. So, you know. All right, that's it for episode 3 of 2 Pros and a Joe. Today, 3 Pros and a Joe. Again, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just search us, the number 2 Pros and a Joe, or go to any of our social media platforms to find it. Greg's at Catch Camarillo. Marcus is at Marcus McNeil 73. I'm at Matt Scraby. Tank, do you have a Twitter handle or Instagram?
At Tank Williams 13.
Perfect. At Tank Williams 13. We'll be back. I believe we're going to get on a little bit of a better schedule here before Thanksgiving, and then we're going to take a Thanksgiving break, and we'll be back at it after that. So appreciate everyone who's reached out, appreciate everyone who's listened, and I appreciate everyone who's subscribed to us. The only way we're going to get better is by people who are listening to share this and to give us feedback and to review and rate and subscribe. I'm just very, very, very happy with what we've done here in the last couple weeks, and as well as what everybody's told me about what we're doing here. So appreciate all of you guys, and we will be reconvening this podcast very soon. Thank you. 2 Pros and a Joe. Thank you to Tank Williams.